Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at how to use collection view and table view. Before we look at collection view and table views, those two UIs will be implemented based upon our previous work. So let's recall what we have done so far. Remember that we have authentication. In this case, our login ID and password is requested to the remote server. Of course, two-factor authentication. So when I click this, then it goes to remote server. And then for two-factor authentication, I need to remember this 2859. So here 2859 call. Then the file is delivered, but it's not rendered for some reason, and Yun is successfully accessed. If I redo this, so randomly choose one of the images that I earlier posted. You guys also, same thing. Yeah, this time it get these JPG files back in. So into this, what we will do, I already tested. So I will give you our the goal that we implement collection view and table views. Okay, so we're going to add one more the button. So this is the core database is authentication, and then a blue button here that goes to remote server credential based authentication, and we will have here a button. If we click this button, then it access the database where there is a list of I believe that is this list of the people who submitted sensor data. Okay, so John Yoon submitted 4 sensor data, as you can see here, and if we come back up, then Abraham Kevin submitted 6 of those. Okay, so it is a scrollable. So you first to place the list of this information here. This is a table view. If you can see here, this is a one row actually. If you click this one row, then it goes to a little more detailed. It's another control view. Look at this. So that it says I have 4 sensor data. So detailed over 4 sensor data appears here. So little lower part of this view, then this is a still table view. And on top, whose data is this? So we can put this. And then in the middle here, this is a collection view. So images can be presented here, right? How many the images John Yoon has? I believe that's yeah, here. This is the images. For example, John Yoon has 10 images. So those 10 images appears here, right? So up to this point, this is the lecture that I would like to give to you in this semester. As I said, for those who wants to do following all of the steps up to these points. So if you show this up to here, of course, the authentication that I just presented a minute ago, plus this, and if you click any of this, then it goes to their images. Sometimes image can be generated all, but sometimes not all. Here, for example, Justin, then his image, yeah, takes time. So eventually all of this, right? And then he has many sensor data reported like here. So if you do up to this point, then it'll be treated as your project. This is only for those who do not yet started your project, or those who do not know what to do. And if you want, then you can redo all the work of our classwork up to these points. Then you will get 90 points out of 100. If somebody wants to do a little more, then we'll get more extra points. Somebody didn't do up to these points somewhere, stopped, then not your points is not goes up to 90, so lower than 90 points out of 100. One of the things that you could do in addition to this minimum requirements for your project, I'll show you here. If you, for example, click one of this, any image of this, then it'll be enlarged, okay, like this. It'll be enlarged, and then you can put here some of your comments. Say, it looks awesome, and then you save this. All right, so go back, and if you do some others some other time, do this, then it says, oh, it looks awesome, and then you can say this one shows your workstation. Very nice. And then we can save this, okay, and go back, and then do some others, maybe come back here, and then go back to his case again. All right, picking up another images, maybe this image. Then I can see still the previous comments here, right? Below is a list of the comments previously posted, and then I can put more here. So if you go up to this point, then I'm sure in this case you'll get far above 90 points. All right. So without further ado, so let's stick to some of the additions that we stopped in the previous lecture. What we will do here, we'll have here one of the buttons, right? So we will put here one more button. So I'll bring the library, holding down Option button, click, then I can hold it. I will do a button. Okay, bring that button here, somewhere here. So I'll push this a little bit aside, and then I'll put button here inside, and then in the utility I can do you can do, I said open, you can do also open if you like. You can make open and background color if you like. Custom style, background configuration. This is a background configuration. Let's say config. And then we can fill some of the buttons, the color, and then radius. I want to make maybe 270, and then like this, then it'll be a circle. So that is my button. Okay, good. And then I will little bit. I'll make this, push this a little above, and I'm going to have view controller. So bring this view controller somewhere here, and I am bring it down here. All right. For this is the view. Of course, I will put some of the labels and collection view and table views. Before we do, I will create create a function, I mean the file. So I'll new file. That file sits behind the new view controller, and I will call it list sensor users PC control view controller, and then create. So that goes below. If this calls, I mean the circle button clicked, then it should go to this list sense button here. This goes to still UI kit, and then class name should be this name. So you need to say list sense users VC That should be subclass of UI view controller, basically. Second one here, open and close. And then by default, therefore, you should have view did load function. So that is this. And then in the code, the body of that function, you need to first to bring that from the superclass. So intelligently, this guy guided me very well. So far, without having any problem, I created this basic templates. All right. So that should go. That is the class for this. So if we say here come, by clicking this, if you come here, if this view controller, the Swift code, Swift file is ready to appear here, then you need to connect. This is the view, and this is the code behind. So we'll be able to see here. Oh, that comes up here, right? List sense users VC. So click this. So that'll be this guys. See here? Then you can see that. And also from this button, this guy should be connected, right? So here, holding down control and coming back here, you have to connect, and then you should say show. Then it comes here. Whenever you do this, you better say here click this, then identifier of this segue. So what is the ID of segue? Then you can say seg, and I would say list sense. Okay, list sensor users. So that is the ID of this segue. We will see if this has an ID. This one earlier is login, then two-factor authentication. Then we had this SG2 factor there. But when we had this guy, there is no segue ID. So we can set up another segue 2 factor remote. So factor. Okay. That is this. So we have all different segues from the first view controller with the ID, its own ID. All right, now into this, we need to do label. So first label shows who's this, right? So bring one more here. So we can do here first name, and here last name. First name, I would put right and justification, and then last name to left hand. So first name and last name can put together. All right. And then below this, we need to have collection view. So for this collection view, you can bring up this collection view rather than collection view cell, or separately. You don't need to do. Only if you bring this collection view itself, then collection view cell can come together. See here, this inside, this is a collection view cell. So you don't have to worry about this. And then bottom here, I'll put their table view. For this table view, you have to bring both together. This table view outside big container of the table view. This table view has number of cells, number of rows, in other words. So we have here table views. So looks, it's not really, okay, it should be like this. So if you see, if you click this table view, so table view is here, and above that is collection view. So we have a collection view. In the collection view, we have collection view cell, but right now it does not have. This also does not have, right? So we'll put more here. On the collection view, we need to put the image view, right? So put this in the image view. So should be smaller. So that is image view. And then we have label. So image view itself goes into this UI image view container. And this is a label. I want to put this label into this label, the file name. So this label should be centered, and I want to put this smaller fonts. And then color of that, I want to put gray. So that'll be gray. So number of images should be horizontally placed in this collection view. If you click this collection view, the scroll direction is vertical by default. So I want to change this to horizontal. So this goes to horizontally. But table view itself, that is always the vertical. Row by row, right? Upper row, lower rows. So multiple rows can be vertically listed. That is table views. So each view, table view or collection view, inside, we need to define the cell, right? This collection view cell has the image with the file name. Table view, what you want to show, I believe we want to show here on this table views, let's say what we want to show. We want to show, I believe this, right? Last name, first name, and number of the sensor data, right? And number of the images, that is in another API. This API is sensor to sender retrieve.php. Another API here, that is sensor to image file retrieve. Somewhere here, I think it should do this. It says a sensor to image file only retrieve this API requires ID, your last name. Therefore, only this John Yoon's the images appears here. So, but anyway, so we need to have username and user last name and first name and number of sensor data. That's what we want to put here, right? So we can say here last name, and then this will be real value comes in here. So together this last name and the real ones we put here and first name, and then finally bottom here we can say number of sensor data posted by that last name and first name. And somewhere here, yeah, there should be similar here. Right. In my demo, I put here a number of images that appears in the next the view controller, but that is your extra, right? You don't need to. So we need to display that here, and no. Yeah. Right. All right. So number of images anyway appears here. So if you click this, then I think this is one extra. Yeah, we don't need to do this, right? This goes to I think this is extra. We simply let's see what I ask you to do. I need to take a look. So when we click this and it goes here, yeah, this is one after that, right? And then when I click any of this, then it goes to next. Yeah, this is somehow a mixture. So previous, we need to show only the list. All right. So let's back up a little bit. To do so, I want to make another view controller. I want to make another view controller here. Okay. Controller. I think I need to copy this. Copy, and here. Oh, nice. I have that. And I need to This also copy. I don't need to copy, I need to cut and bring that here together in the center. Okay, so that is this. This guy also I need to do copy and paste here. Yeah, I think this is better. So I'm going to remove this. So we'll everything this. We simply list everything, right? Like this. The first thing that we have, we simply list last name, first name, and number of sensor data posted. And then you can simply say number of images posted will appear when click this. So let's do the same way that we did. So a little bit to left. Okay. So let's first work on this. I think this is not binding, right? This is not either binding. So we'll still use this a little later. And we will do this step by step. Okay. So up to this point, I will close this. That is, now I will emulate this program. So if you click this, we can go next one, right? But there is no there's no the list yet, anything at all. Or we can simply put some of the label here. We can say list of users who posted sensor data. Okay, so redo. So if you click this, then list of users who posted sensor data. All right. Now we need to connect these components to the program, the code that we want to have. So click this. We already had listed census users. So this guy on the right hand side, I want to put the code. I want to hide this utility components, and here we'll do this later. So right now, to see if oh yeah, to this we simply bring this guy, this entire big container. Big container should be here, but it is not. It takes time. If we one of the tips that I would do, this may be on my laptop. Maybe yours behaves differently. In my case, every time when I have the Swift code and then storyboard. If I want to connect at the very first time, then I need to shut down this Xcode and come back. Then we can do it. But right now we don't do that. Well, we need to do one more thing. This cell itself should have its own the definition. I would say its own file. So open up file, and then you can say you simply say sensor cell. This is only cell. It's not the view controller. So you can say sensor cell. This sensor cell also should have UI kit. We'll do this a little later. This is a sensor cell, because that is well, I'm going to close this. And onto here, I can simply, this can be its own separate class, or it can go with the because the reason for that here is everything here that is the big container, that is a table view. Table view contains this cell, property cells, table view cells. So I want to, but we have to define the class for this outside container and also this cell container. Those two definitions, those two classes can be defined separately, or like this in storyboard, class can be contained in. It's not really contained in, but it can come together. So we can say here, I would say a table view cell, and this is a UI table view cell. And here, then we can, for example, like here, this outside, this is the container here, and the name of this file itself is a list sense user PC. But next to this, we sneaked in another class that is also fine, because that sits inside this text view. All right. So we want to, for example, place this here, connect this guy over there. So we will do that. But let me see if this works for that. It's not, right? Right now. So another thing that you need to do, it's a little bit tricky, but I want to close this and bring this here. This cell, you have to click very quick. This is a cell, right? Then here identifier, the ID needs to be assigned to this cell. Right now this is called table view cell. Look at this. Here this is highlighted, therefore something here clicked. If you click this, it's very hard to click, but you see here that means clicked when you have this. And this guy is about table view cell. So we can assign here ID. We can say that cell users. That is ID for this cell. And then class for this cell users should be TV cell. That is already we defined, right? TV cell. If you want to see that clearly, then we say that is a TV cell. Back here, cell users, then there is a TV cell. So this TV cell is picked up from this. So they are well now organized. Class of this cell itself is a TV cell. So all the components, if need to connected inside here. But outside this table, the outer container, or table view, it should go here. All right. Let's see to this if it can go. Oh, now it can go. So it takes time. Sorry. So we put here. There's a label. So label last name. There's a last name. And next one here. Hold it down. Then we can say label first name. And bottom here, that is, oops. Oh, that's messed up. We have to be very careful for this. Okay. Okay, so that is label sense count. Okay, so that is there. And outside of this container, which is a table view here, that should go into here. So we call that table view sense table view list users. Table view list users. I think we got all for now. Okay, so we need to do now a little more programming, right? And remember that we need to go to the remote database and fetch JSON data. we unified the format of JSON data last week. So variable MySQL result, we define that string, like dictionary, string, and initialize it. And then this itself should be also UI table view delegates, and then UI table view data source, this guy. So if we want to inherit from those two definitions, delegate definition and data source, then we need to define extra the required functions. So this guy say to us, are we going to do some of the protocol stuffs, which means functions. So those two functions needs to be defined, these functions. So we need to cut that down and attach to the bottom here. Okay. And then this guy asks about a number of rows in selection. So before we do, we need to bring remember that we had download JSON, right? Download JSON. So function download JSON, we need to copy. It has been posted on your Blackboard, and also we have similar things here, view controller. So simply somewhere copy and paste like this. Okay. So I copied download JSON to, you don't need to JSON to, simply JSON, download the JSON. And then number of this, the rows that can come in this table view obtained from the JSON data, right? Depending upon the size of the JSON data, you will have different rows in the table. So that comes from, because we need to return, because it returns integer, self MySQL result, and then count. It goes into this, so simply you can see it. Oh, that's simply that one. And then call this. Before we call, then we need to prepare. Remember that we need to do self download JSON complete request here. Then we need to put request, right? And then we need to do, in this case, very simply, TV list users. That is this. That's nothing but UI table view. In the table, you need to do reload the data. But that can be done only this download JSON, the function that we copied here. This guy get the data and put that in this MySQL result. So MySQL result is a global variable. When you call this, then this guy will have a list of MySQL result. But in order to invoke this, we need to set up a request, right? Remember the setting up the request. You need to do guard let URL equals URL and then string here. In that string, we need to call only this particular sensor to sensor retrieve. What is this? Is it right? Oops. Right. Else we simply do return, and then we need to set up request. Request is URL request and then URL. URL is this URL. We already defined the variable URL, so simply URL. And then we need to do request dot HTTP method. HTTP method should be post. So this request goes into this download JSON, and this guy access the remote database and put the result of that SQL execution into this variable. So when that is available, then we need to populate that. Oh, this is not yet done. In that list cell, right? A table list cell. So we need to here define the cell. So cell is nothing but table view dot DQ reusable cell. I want to simply click this, and then with the identifier, remember that cell has IDs, right? If you come main, this is a cell, not just click to that one. But if you go up here, then there's a cell users. Cell user, this itself is ID. See, if you click this, then identify is the cell users. So we simply use it. So here, okay, that is the cell users. Cell users. And then local variable, we put simply index path. Excuse me. And then we're ready to populate the data. Cell label. Oh, one thing that you need to do here, that should go as what is the name of the class? Name of the class we already said here, TV cell, right? So you need to put here TV cell. Okay. So once that is done, then when you do cell dot, then you can see LB last name into last name I want to get self MySQL result, which row that I want to. I want to put index path.row. In that row, I want to get the value, which is user ID. Remember that is user ID here. User ID value and F name and count star. That's what I want to have here. So that. Similarly, cell dot first name text self MySQL, same thing, index path.row, in that specific row, and then in that specific column. Column name is first name, F name. And another cell dot lb send count here. Dot text comes from cell MySQL and index path dot row, and then we call it count star count. And at the end, finally, because this guy asked us to return UI table view cell. What's the name of UI table view cell? That is this TV list users, right? Oh no, there is a cell here. So we need to simply return cell. I think this, yeah, one more thing I think we need to do. After we do this, then this TV list has a delegate that should be self, and TV list data source should be also self. Then I want to execute it. Click this. Oh, very nicely I have this, but this guy didn't present all of those, right? That is because the width, the height here narrow, so we need to increase the height. The way that we can increase, we can say func and type height. Then you can see here height for row at. So simply click that. Here in the code, you can say 150. Okay. And then execute it. Click this. Oh, very nicely. Then you have this, right? This is clickable, but it doesn't go further, right? Because we didn't make it yet. So next step is to come back here, the main. We need to connect from here there, right? So this whole this cell itself, this user cell user, this guy needs to go to next view controller, right? So you can control and drag to next view controller, or you can do that here if you like. Next. So you need to do show, yeah. Okay. And then don't forget to get here the ID. This guy. Identifier here, segue. Segue image and sensor together. Image and sensor. That is the name of this segue. Okay. Let's see if it goes to next view controller. Click here. If we click this, then goes to this label, right? We don't get any yet. Oh, there may be some. You know what I want to do? I want to remove this, and I think I need to remove this all. I think I need to do from scratch. Otherwise, okay, something may mess up, right? If we copy and paste. So view controller, I want to bring that here. Okay. So here, I'll redo this and label. Put here label. So this guy should be left justification. This guy should be right justification. Okay. And then collection view. Bring that up here. And then table view. And then table view cell. This guy has image views. So bring that image view here. Oops. Cell. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. Okay, and image views. All right. And then label. Yeah, I'm gonna put this this label here. Make this a little bigger. And then center, smaller. And color, gray. Okay, here I want to put for that I need to display little detailed data. Yeah, so user ID and then sensor type and model and sensor data. So back here we can say that is a sensor. Simply say sensor. And then another label. And copy and paste. You can say this model and then label. Then we need to, oops, we can say value or data, and this is real data. Data may be long. Okay. Now we can say, I think we don't need this. And from this cell, get this and view. This guy is segue to image and sensor. Okay. Of course, we need to have the file, Swift file that sits behind this views, right? So file to be created, and we call it sensors images together BC. Then that is UI kit, and then class is sensor images together VC, which is UI view controllers subclass, by the way. And then view did load should be created, and you need to bring the support images. So basically these are small things we need to bring this down. Okay. Let's try to see. Yeah, goes next and come back and come back. Very nice. Okay. So this is newly created view. So we didn't connect this view to the behind the Swift code that we just created, right? Swift code is a sensor image together VC. So come back here. Sensor image VC together, right? So that goes with this. Okay. And make this and bring up that code. Now we need to connect, right? Last time when we made the last time when we made this cell, we defined this cell inside this table entire the Swift code. Right now, here in this case, we can because we have a collection view and collection view cell, and table view cell. We could put all together in one file, but this will become so big. So I want to make it separately. We could do that too. So separately, we create file, and then we say collection view cell. There's a collection view cell. UI kit, and then class is CV cell, which is a subset of UI collection view cell. All right. That is this CV cell. Oh, this is what I want to use, but we don't need this. So delete that. Remove it to trash. We want to make another file, which is table view cell. So table view cell. So there's a table view cell. UI kit, similarly class TV cell, which is UI table view cell. Table view cell. Okay. Come back here. This is a collection view cell. A collection view. Inside there is a collection view cell. The class, we can say here CV cell. It's very intelligent, right? That's what I already know that. And come back here. This is a table view cell. Class for that here is a TV cell. uppercase TV cell, because it's a lowercase TV cell that we already defined here. Watch this. Yeah, small TV cell. It's a little bit confused, but still okay. This is a lowercase TV cell and this is uppercase TV cell. This is separately defined. So this guy should know, but we do not know actually. They really need to know, right? Like this. And we bring up here. This. I want to see if this guy can go. No, cannot go yet. So rather than wait, we want to close this and come back. And I want to find where that file is. Okay. So click this. This is CV cell, right? Click this. So images, this. First image go here. Oh, can go. So we call that image view. And no, image view sensors. Image view sensors. And then inside we have label. If this is too small, you can bring that here. So this is a label. Label file name, right? Okay. Those two are defined. Same thing if you can bring TV cell, then we can also drag and drop. Very nice. And this is a sensor. ID, IB, the label sensor. That's a variable. And next one is here. Label, model, and finally here, data, right? Label, data. Okay. Very nice. And then we bring up that entire this. So we need to drag and drop this thing here. So that is table view sensors. Table view sensors. And here there is a collection view sensors. Collection view CV sensors. think we are pretty much okay. One more thing here. Last name and first name, right? So we need to have here. This guy goes here. Label. First name. And this guy. Label. Last name. So what we want to do here, when we click one of this, then last name and first name pass that two values, pass to next view. So that should appear here. Okay, so in order to receive here, then we need to set the variable, say name equals, this is simply last name, and variable first equals first name. We can define this. And then when these two values passed from the previous view controller, then we need to populate here. Self.lb first name dot text. Into it, we put first, and then self lb last name dot text. Into, I think name goes into it. Okay. And here, so from this code, we have to do one more thing. Right now, this guy didn't do anything. So what we need to do is, if something is clicked, then we need to send it to next view controller. So from this code to that code. Okay. To do that, to sending out, there are two ways that you can send out. You can do here table view, where there is a another function called I believe it is called did select row at. We could do that, or we can simply use prepare. Okay, so func and prepare. Then there is a prepare for sender. So I simply hit, because this method is what we want. So hit enter. In the code side, we need to say, if we use segue, if segue dot identifier is the same as what is the segue right now? So I'm going to put here, yeah, this segue. What is the idea of this segue? This is a segue, so we need to put here. Oops. This guy, I want to copy and paste. So put here, copy and paste. If that, then we can do we can let the destination is segue dot destination as what's the name of the other, that is called sensors image together VC. Okay. Once we have that, then we use the destination, and then we need to look at this code. There's a name and first, right? So into, put here, then there's a name. Into that name, we need to get the self and MySQL result, and then I want to close this. Okay, here basically we need to put because this is the list of the dictionary, right? So we need to get which row that we want to send out and which data that we want to send out. Data here, that is simple, right? That is user ID. Which row that we want to send out. Here in this case, we need to do TV list users dot index path for selection row dot row. So if that particular row is selected, then we want to send it to. Basically, that is what we want to do. If there is an error, then we need to see what it is. To do this. Another here. Looks good, right? We need to copy this and redo here for our first name. Rather than this, we need to do first. And here, rather than user ID, we need to have F name. Okay, let's try. So open. If we click, Kevin Adam, and if we click this and Ryan Gardner, so from here to next, it is very nicely communicating. So it goes, come here, right? First name and last name, that is entered. So basically here, what we need to do is we need to call, first thing that we need to do, we need to do UI collection view delegates, which is this one, and then UI collection view data source. We need to download, we need to inherit from this superclass, because we use a collection view. So we need to one by one. We need to handle collection view first, and then table view. Table view we already did once, right? So will be much easier if we do that. So we can define two functions. Those two functions are required. So we'll do that here. Oops. Basically here that is nothing but return. Oh, we need to do MySQL, right? For this, we need to do variable MySQL result equals string colon string, and then initialize. So we want to use that. Here, self MySQL result dot count. Nice. And for this, in order to populate this, then we need to download for example, we need to do here copy and paste here. Okay. So we need to basically do here self download JSON, right? So here we put the request, and we don't need to do all of this. And then simply put here self CV sensors, self CV sensors dot reload. But in order to do this request, we need to set the request, right? Here we put the sensors, the images. So guard let URL equals URL. We want to get this string. Into that string we want to have, in this case we need to send last name and bring that, for example, like this. We need to send it's a last name and first name. I think yeah, this is what we want, right? This is what we want. So oops. Here we need to do this. Okay. Else return. And then we need to define request. Request is nothing but URL request, and then URL and URL. This URL is when we call this, it's a color type. Okay, and then post data equals, we need to put ID equal and then last name, in this case name only, right? And then request dot HTTP method, it's nothing but post, and then request dot I think this HTTP body equals post data. Post data is this ID and those things, right? Using string dot encoding dot UTF-8. So request is defined here, and it will attach the method, and will attach body, and this request is a URL request. It has already this URL that goes to this download JSON. So if it is done, then we need to do self CS sensor dot data source equals self, data source delegates that also self. I'm not sure, do we need to do self and self here? We don't need, right? Okay. Then here we need to now populate, right? How can you do populate? Then we need to do here let CV cell equals CV sensors, and then DQ reusable cell, and with ID and that, right? So that ID here then I think we didn't set the ID yet, so come here, right? Class is this, and cell ID we didn't make it yet, right? So let's say that is a CV cell. Similarly here, there is TV cell. ID class is that ID here we say TV CLL, not full name cell but CLL. Back here we call it CV CLL, that is the ID for that, and path is index path. Finally, this guy says a UI collection view cell needs to be returned, which is we need to say return, and then CV. Oh, I want to change this to CV or simply, yeah, CLL, CCLL, CCLL. Yeah, simply like to. I don't make it confused. This is CVCLL. So CCLL, CCLL. This is nothing but UI collection view cell ID. US collection view cell through this ID identification. Then if we do CCLL, then we know. Oh, I think one thing, it doesn't recognize it. So we need to do S, and that is, what is the file name? File name is a CV cell, right? So we need to say here CV cell. In that case, CCLL dot, then this guy knows. I think that is IV sensor, this image view sensor, this is a label file name, these two things, right? So into this, yeah, we need to, because this guy is image view. Yeah, image view. So when I do this, remember that we have downloaded this, so we can call from this downloaded, and then we need to set up URL, right? That's what we had here, view controller already, right? Somewhere here. Yeah, once we have that, then this is URL string, and this. Yeah, something like this. So keep that in mind. So we'll do here. This guy already sent the request to this. So at this point, we already have a list of images that's available, right? For this particular name. What that means is that then I have this, right? If I have this, then I can have a file name, right? So from this file name, then we need to send to that. So first I need to do, I believe, file name. So I need to define file name. Let's say field name equals self MySQL result. There, that is this index path. That particular, we need to list multiple, collection of multiple images, right? So one by one, according to index. So to index path row, what we want to get there is not username, not pass, not first name, but the file name, right? So file name is from there. File name is actually file name. So we need to put file name. Here, file name. So we can get that from there. So with that file name, then we need to have a variable basic URL. That into that variable we need to put URL, which URL that we want to get. Yeah, that is from a particular. Remember the location here? Yeah, from this location, basic URL. So we need to get that, same as that one. So we need to put that here. So variable URL string, you simply put here basic URL plus file name, right? File name. Then it can be I'll put this. And also CCLL has LB file names. Into the file name, into text, because I already had this file name. So field name into it. So let's try to run. Open, and when I do, for example, John Yu, yeah, I have a list of those, right? But I need to have a little bigger than that. So what we need to do, back here, this cell, believe, yeah, here. Minimum spacing for that, and sector also put 1010. Header size, footer size, cell size. I think that much, and see what happens. We can adjust to that. Still not. So we need to back here. Okay, this estimate size here, we need to say here custom. Yeah, custom, and we need to change this to say 120 and 120. 143 is okay, but let's say 140. 140 and 140. Let's see what happens. Well, this doesn't show up because this is too big. Let's see. Let's put this 120. Cell size a little bit, maybe 125. 125. Let's set this is source. Left and right. Oh, this is not. Let's see. Correction sensor. Oh, it's a vertical. So we need to change this to horizontal. I thought I changed it, but it's not changed. So, for example, only one appears. Very nice. But I need more space here. So sensor, I think cell size 135, height 140, yeah. File name didn't come out. I think was didn't change it. Why? Width, height 145. But it's not changed. Cell sized. Or should I? Or 140. This is 46 with the 43. So it should be bigger than this. 145. 145. And why change it? 45. Height is still 145. But anyway, It should be like that. Let's move further. What we need to do, so images came up, right? Now, so sensor data. Sensor data, that should be similar to the other, right? Sensor data here. Right. What we need to do here, we need to put UI table view delegates and UI table view data source. Then of course we need to define these two, and that should be somewhere here. And this should return. Oh, similarly, we need to define here variable my SQL result 2, that should be string. That is this first SQL result 2 has the sensor data, and the next one has no, the image data and the sensor data. So back here, my SQL result count. But if you want to make sure this is the global, then you need to do self. Okay. And we need to, very similarly, we need to have very similar to this all the way. So we can do guard let URL 2 equals URL and string sensor data comes from sensor to cell data retrieve, which is I believe this, right? To this, if we send the ID and name, then we can get that out. So here we need to put that. So sensor to cell data retrieve. And then else return. And then variable request 2, because we already have a request here, so we want to make that differently. So that type of that is a URL request, and then URL, that is URL 2. and then let post data 2 equals id equal plus name plus we need to have one more and file name plus first. That should be attached to the URL. So request this part the same as that. So we simply put that and we change this to number 2 and number 2 and number 2. Once we have that, then we can do self I think we need to do, because we are looking at download JSON here, this MySQL result should be differently, right? We can make this in one file. What we can do is let's make simply here. I want to copy this and make one more. And then I want to make this download 2, and I want to make this 2. So we need to update MySQL result to 2 from this download JSON different function. That's what we want to hear. So here we need to do self.download JSON 2. So in this case, request 2, and then here's self and table view sensors dot reload. And then finally table view sensors dot delegates equals self TV sensors dot data source equals self. Then we are ready to use this. Then we can now populate, right? So how can we populate it? We can populate in the similar way, say, let ACtvCvtogether equals table view dot delegates the DQ reusable cell with identifier. Identifier, I believe we say this is very similar to, here we have CVCLL. I believe that is TVCLL, right? And this is the index path. And whole thing as TV cell. And then finally return. We need to do TVCLL. Okay. And now TVCLL dot LB sensor. Into the sensor, we need to do self.mysql 2, and then we have index path dot row And then we need to, so this is that record. In that record, we want to get a sensor, which is S type, D type. So that is S type. So S type, right? Similarly, tvCLL dot LB model. I think we need to do text here. Text. I want to copy this to here, but this should be T type. Okay. Value also similar to this. So I want to copy this. Rather than this, should be LB data. And all the way there, that should be send data. Send data. Then it'll be populated. Also, if you want to make it a little, change the height, then you need to do func he, yeah, that one, and then you can put here 120 and see how it works. Let's see this. Let's see. Oh, here it should be equal sign. Oh, very nice. So bottom here we have sensor data. I have 4 sensor data, and horizontally the images. If we choose others, for example, Justin, his images sometimes comes a little later. Okay. So many images and also many data. Yeah, this is, up to this point, this is your 90 points value project, if you like, okay? And then if you want to own more than 90 points, then let's say if you click this, then go to next to view controller and enlarge it, and then there is some text field, ask user to give some comments, and that comments should be stored in the core data, which is the same database that we use. Remember that core data that you can have here, create models, then you need to create, add more entries. Right now here's a CRED entry, right? You may have another for example, comments. And comments has maybe the attributes, message attributes, and file name. So each file has its the different comments. So you can make that. Okay, I think this is it.